As you can tell by today's title, today's look is going to be all about holiday glam. This is a basic holiday glam look that you can use for any type of holiday parties or functions you're going to during this season. So let's get into it. So first of all, we're going to start off with bronzer. I'm going to put everything I'm using in the description box, by the way, so if I don't name something, check the description. So basically, I'm starting off with bronzer in my crease. If you want to recreate this look, you're going to want to use the bronzer shade that works for you. So I'm using Cocoa Naughty, and I'm just applying that right under my brow bone up into my crease and creating basically the base for a cut crease, which you could probably tell from the little thumbnail. So I'm just going ahead and building that color up. Next, we're taking Brownsville. This is another bronzer from Prime Beauty, and it's a little bit darker, a little bit warmer, and it's a little bit more impactful, if you will. So I'm putting that right under the Cocoa Naughty to just kind of deepen up the crease, but nothing too like crazy. I don't want it to be too intense, more natural, just kind of like a warm, very cute color that complements my complexion. So if you have two bronzers that you use those two colors, or a warm color and a deeper, warmer color. That's kind of the color that you want to stick to. So I'm just going ahead and deepening up the crease. When I have basically what I feel like looks good, it is time to cut the crease. So I'm using the Huda Beauty Matte Metal Shadow, and I'm using my NABLA Cut Crease Brush. I live by this brush. I cannot do cut creases without this brush, but basically you want to take your time on this. I think with any cut crease look, you want to take your time and cut it in a way that complements your eye shape. So I really like to go a little bit above my crease with that product. I'm just slowly, making sure that it's precise as possible. This product dries down really fast, and it doesn't budge once it dries down. So I'm trying to make sure I don't mess up, because there's a chance that if I do, I can't fix it. Once I created the shape, I go ahead and give it a little finger blend. So I'm kind of trying to blend as I go along, but as you can see, it does dry down super fast. But it doesn't really matter, because this look is really supposed to be kind of soft. So, and we'll be putting product on top of that color later on. So I basically have the outline of what I want my eye to look like. So next we're gonna go ahead and deepen things up. I'm taking Credit from my Jackie Aina X ABH palette with a small brush, and I'm gonna go ahead and go in the outer corners and deepen it up. This is like a dark brown, so it's still like we're in the neutrals family. Like, this is a very neutral look. Like I said, you can use this and pair with like a red lip, or use different accent colors to kind of make this work for different occasions, but the base colors are pretty neutral. So we're using that dark brown to just deepen up our look on the outer corners, and there is a space in between that dark brown and the cut crease color, that beige. So I'm applying the bronzer I applied earlier in the center. So that just kind of brings everything together. Very, like I said, neutral, basic, but effective. Hopefully that's coming across. I think so. I think it's very basic, but very effective. I just think it looks really cute. I think this is just like, it's a neutrals look, but it's elevated because of that cut crease element. So yeah, so just deepening up the crease with the browns, sticking to neutrals, sticking to warm browns, dark browns, light browns. Next, we are doing eyeliner. So again, this is like a softer look, maybe even soft glam, if you will, debate that in the comments. But basically, I took the liner, this one's from NARS, and I created the shape, and I'm blending it out with my brush, and I stopped in the center of my eye. I did not bring the liner all the way to the inner corner, because I don't want black there. I want the cut crease color to stand out. So just making a note of that. Next, I'm gonna line the rim of my eyes with the liner, just so that it makes sure that my eyes pop and my lashes blend once I put them on. But again, smudged out liner to have that soft look. To clean things up, just to make sure that I have the shape that I want, like that winged out shape, and it's like bringing my face up and not down. I'm taking micellar water with a Q-tip, and I'm just cleaning up under The eye, and like you guys can kind of see, is pretty self-explanatory. And I'm using my brush to kind of just make sure the edge doesn't look too neat, because again, I want this to look soft and not too harsh. So this is what we're working with. This is basically the look. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply lashes, and let's get into some complexion, y'all. So we have the Milk Hydrating Primer, which I've been using all year. I don't remember when it came out, but since it came out, that's literally all I use. So we're using that to prime the skin. Next, this foundation combo is a banger. If I ever had one, the Beauty Bakery Instabake, but plus the Urban Decay Stay Naked. So one of them is more of like glass skin, that's the Instabake, and the Stay Naked is pretty matte. So the two of them together, for my skin, I have combination skin, is just fire. So I'll have the shades I wear in the description box below, but I mix those together and apply the mix with my finger. I forgot I want to color correct, so I really like this Makeup Forever concealer for color correcting. It's kind of like this light orange color, so I'm just gonna do that quickly and blend it in, and then blend my foundation on top of that. And I'm using a Smashbox brush. I tend to like to blend out my foundation with a brush these days, and then use like a beauty blender or a beauty sponge to go back in and make sure I blend out the rest and just, you know, pounce it into the skin. So I'm going ahead and blending that mix onto my face. Next, it's time to conceal under the eyes. I have the Too Faced Born This Way concealer. I've been using this, I feel like, since last year. Like, it's still one of my favorite concealers. It gets the job done, especially when you want to brighten up under the eyes. So I like to apply it under the eyes and let it sit for a little bit while we get into contour. This is the Maybelline Superstay foundation stick. I believe it's in the shade Espresso. So what I'm going to do is just apply a little bit to where, you know, my face contours under my cheekbones. That's a better phrase to use, more explanatory. And I'm blending it upward with my brush. And I'm actually gonna go ahead and make this a little bit more precise, but still keep it soft. So you'll see how I do that in a second. So after I blend it out, I wanna make sure that I still look sculpted. So I'm actually gonna use the foundation that's left on my hands. You might have seen some people do this technique with like a lighter concealer or a lighter powder, but when you do it with your foundation color, you're still like making it look sculpted, but because it's your, you know, the color that you're already wearing, it doesn't make it look too, I guess, harsh. So I am blending out my concealer with a Dose of Color sponge. This is, if you don't have a sponge, if you've never used a sponge, like I love the Beauty Blender, but this is one of my favorite sponges because it does not really pick up product. Like, it just blends. Like, barely any product comes or is absorbed by the sponge is a better way of saying it. So anyways, blending everything out, blending out the concealer under the eyes, and also blending out that foundation that's kind of carving out the contour, and just using the booty part to just make sure the whole face is looking beat, it's looking blended, it's looking good, not too harsh, but everything is sitting where it is supposed to be sitting. So to not bake, but I want to set the under eye. I'm using the plantain powder from Beauty Bakery, and I like to use my sponge. Again, this is a great sponge for this because it doesn't absorb product. I like to use my sponge to press powder into my concealer. I just find that for me, it just looks better that way. It doesn't look like it's sitting on top of the skin, doesn't make my skin look too dry, and it lasts longer. So I just go ahead and do that. And I'm baking my nose because that is where I get the most oily. You know, a lot of people that have combination skin get oily in their T-zone. I don't really care too much about getting oily on my forehead, but my nose is just a little bit more noticeable, so I'm gonna go ahead and bake the sides of my nose. Next, we're gonna get back into bronzer. So we're getting back to the bronzers we used in the beginning of the video. I'm using Coco Naughty first, and I'm going over where we contoured and just warming that area up. I really love the MAC. I don't know what number it is. I'll put it in the description box below, but these MAC, I think it's 154. I don't know, I don't wanna say the wrong thing, but these MAC brushes are great for contour, and they're also great for highlight. So I'm going again with the Prime Beauty. Again, this pair for me is just, I just love using them together because it's just, I don't know, the gradient to me is just bomb, it's just fire. So I'm patting that also on with the brush as well as using a sweeping motion because I don't want it to go too low. I want to make sure that it's staying, you know, in the sculpted place that we, you know, had that hard work to create earlier. So now it's time for highlight. That is a NABLA, I think it's called Skin Glass or Skin Glaze highlighter. So before, obviously, I apply highlight, I want to wipe up that bake, because how I like to apply highlight is on a wet base. So what I'm going to do is take my spray, this is the Milani Make It Last spray. I spray it on the side of the face that I'm about to highlight, and then I take my highlighter and apply it, because I just find that highlighter just applies so much better when the base is wet. I don't like applying it afterward. I just like applying it before it being a spray. So it just, to me, I don't know, it just looks better. It melts in the skin better when it's on a wet base. So, and again, I'm using that MAC brush for highlight as well. I really like those MAC brushes for highlight and contour and bronzing. So now that everything has been applied, I'm just going back in with my sponge, the Dose of Color sponge, and just making sure everything is looking blended again. And like I said, I love this sponge for this. It's popping, it's bomb. Check it out, please. I am applying some clear gloss on my brows. I saw someone on Instagram do this, a makeup artist, and if I can find the picture, I'll link that down below as well. I just think it's a really cute and interesting way to highlight the brow bone without being like too in your face about it. It like catches the light because it's gloss, but it's not obvious. So yeah, I do that now. I think it's cool. So to set the middle of my face, I'm using Hazelnut Pro Filter Fenty powder with a big kabuki brush from Real and Langnickel, and I'm just going over the nose and over, I start off in the center, and then whatever's left on the brush, I bring to the outer corner or the outer, whatever, however you want to say it. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. So for lips, I'm taking the Makeup Forever, I think it's called Artist Color Pencil in the shade Dimensional Dark Brown. I am only overlining my Cupid's bow. I like to color in the lines of my lips, but overline the Cupid's bow because it still gives you that really big pout effect. Next, I'm taking this Maybelline Super Stay liquid lip. The name of it will be in the description box. I know this is a super extra look, y'all, but I think it's worth it. So it's another liquid lipstick. This is from Smashbox, and we have 2 more lip products that we're gonna add. This one is from Dose of Colors. Hopefully you can see the kind of gradient I was trying to create. I mean, I think it's worth it to use all the products. You don't have to do this. You don't have to be this extra, but I just am. It is what it is. So to complete it, we're using this Sugar Pill gloss. I've been loving this gloss lately. It's not sticky, it's not grainy, and the bronzy color is just super pretty for any kind of nude glossy lip look. So I've been using this a lot lately. But yeah, so that is the lip look. And oh, I thought we were about to be done, but I forgot. So if you have beauty marks, if you have like, what are these called? These are eyeshadow pens. These are great if you have freckles or beauty marks that you want to make sure don't get lost in your makeup. So I'm setting and spraying, and now here we go. We're done. So hopefully y'all enjoy this holiday glam. I mean, it's not like super basic in terms of being easy, but it's like basic because it's a soft look. It's like natural, soft. I don't know if people might not think it's soft glam. I feel like this is kind of soft, softer than something that's a little bit more colorful. So hopefully y'all enjoyed this tutorial. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Happy holidays, and I'll see you in the next video.